Alicia Powe in Washington for TvAbraham inside the Capitol. While Congress sits idle until mid-September, the Iran threat does not. Tehran's nuclear facilities remain a flashpoint, highly enriched uranium still unaccounted for, inspections stalled, and the risk of reconstitution hanging over every negotiating table. Lawmakers I pressed this week faced the question head-on. With the recent escalation, should the United States conduct targeted strikes on those nuclear facilities? And what is your red line? At the same time, President Trump's proposal to allow Saudi Arabia to enrich uranium is drawing attention on the Hill. Would you support U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities?
I don't support Trump's war of choice in Iran until he comes and explains to us exactly what he's doing there.
What about his proposal to allow Saudi Arabia to enrich uranium?
I think the Trump administration needs to come to the American people and tell us what he wants to do.
Do you think the U.S. should strike Iran's nuclear facilities?
No. I'm interested in hearing what the results are of the negotiations about reopening the strait, and if there's progress there, hopefully that will lead to additional progress.
And how about Trump's proposal to allow Saudi Arabia to enrich uranium?
We have a statement that we're about to put out on that. You can call our office and get a copy.
Do you believe the U.S. should conduct targeted strikes at Iran's nuclear facilities, Pickaxe Mountain, Fordow, considering the escalation recently?
Look, all options are on the table. I think what you're going to see from President Trump is that he's going to continue to do what it takes to make sure that we achieve our objectives. And I believe that our allies in the Middle East, whether it's Saudi or Qatar or all these other countries that are in the Middle East, as well as our NATO allies, need to join with us in making sure that we continue to do what it takes to make sure that not only does Iran not have a nuclear weapon, but they also can't continue to support terrorism, not only in the Middle East, but around the globe. They are the number one state sponsor of terror in the world. So what I would say is we need to do what it takes. Now, the specific steps will be determined by the president and our military. Clearly, we want to make sure they do not have a nuclear weapon. So whether it's Fordo or any one of these sites, yeah, we have to do what it takes.
And also with Saudi Arabia, President Trump proposed Saudi Arabia be allowed to enrich uranium. Like, would that start a nuclear arms race?
That is predicated on them joining the Abraham Accords. And so then it would be subject to a lot of conditions, and it would be focused on peaceful, not on any kind of nuclear weapon.
Would you support the U.S. bombing Iran's nuclear facilities, Pickaxe Mountain? A lot can happen over the recess here. Where do you stand with Iran?
No, I don't support the president continuing to push this illegal, unconstitutional war, to take actions like that without even getting an authorization of the use of military force from Congress. The idea that a president can repeatedly engage in these types of actions without congressional approval is just wrong. You know, I was a civilian embedded with the military in Afghanistan. I've worked on the ground in war zones. There's absolutely no way that we should be having this war continue without actually following our Constitution.
Look, this war in Iran has both been illegal and senseless from the beginning, and now, we're learning that we've expended a huge number of our munitions, both offensive munitions and defensive systems, that they are really dwindling, even as we potentially face other challenges around the world. And so this was a war that should never have been started. It's hurting our national security, not helping our national security, and we should end it now. You can't snap your fingers and rebuild your stockpile, so it will take time. And what this demonstrates is that the Secretary of Defense, Secretary Hegseth, had no clue what he was doing in terms of the expenditure of munitions. I should also point out that these are very expensive munitions the United States is using against much cheaper drones and other munitions being used by the Iranians. So this is why it's costing the American taxpayers a huge amount of money. And at the same time, we're exhausting many of our weapon systems and resources. So this has been a huge mistake right from the start. It's a strategic mistake. It's a mistake in every way. And of course, it's coming from a president who said that he was going to end wars and focus on bringing down prices. The opposite is happening. prices are going up and up, and we're stuck in a war that we should end and end now.
Do you believe the U.S. should conduct targeted strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities?
Right now, it looks like we're playing whack-a-mole. You know, we're hitting them in different places, which I'm fine with until we get their attention. President Trump and the Joint Chiefs are going to have to make a decision on what they hit. I mean, none of us over here know anything. The most important ones to hit. Okay, we can all make out like we know what's going on, but we really don't. We just need to get it over with as soon as we can. There's so many things that we have to do, and we have to fund the military. The NDAA didn't pass. We need to get a supplemental for them. Reconciliation 3.0 is coming.
President Trump went to war in Iran in a fashion that is not consistent with following the rules and laws of America. It's an illegal war. President Trump has now been over there for 6 months. He said it'd be over 6 days. President Trump needs to be honest with the American people.
Well, I think the most important thing when we're conducting anything, we should figure out what the end goal is. We did targeted strikes on Iran nuclear facilities before. We've done it again. The problem is that we gave up on affirming and confirming and going forward with the JCPOA, which was a more secure way to contain Iran nuclear ambition. I do again think that JCPOA and an Iran nuclear deal was better, has better outcomes and makes us more secure than trying to go to battle.
I think the president has been vigorous in ensuring that Iran does not have nuclear weapons, and I think in doing so, that's making America safer.
The debate is real, and Congress is not in session to settle it. A lot can change before lawmakers return. Decisions made or deferred in the weeks ahead will shape the Middle East for years. Alicia Powe in Washington for TvAbraham inside the Capitol.